Hello everyone, this is Ramakrishna Guntupalli. Today we are going to discussing about our topic CSS selectors. The CSS selectors. So CSS selectors, the items which you want to customize using the language are specified by the CSS selectors. CSS selectors go into wide variety of categories with our own distinct syntax. These instruct the browser which element should go the values of the CSS property. These options are simple to see and comprehend, and they are compact with all the recent browsers. Element selectors can select selector ID, class ID, universal selector, etc. So first, what is an element selector? The element selector in CSS is used to choose elements within other elements in order to choose the items that match the second selector. If the register match the first selector, it combines it to two selects. You can see the syntax here. The background syntax P, background color yellow. If we choose any of these two options in our CSS, it means that they apply to all components that put the particular tag. For example, you can see the anchor tag, paragraph tag, h tag, etc. So, and what is moving on to class selector? A class selector selects every components that falls under the given class. For instance, the selector and the index would choose any element with the class intro. In addition to any of the element with the class index, a class should be instead of a selector, it has to use more than once on a page or a website. A class may be applied. Class A may be applied to several elements on a page or throughout the whole website. But an ID can be applied only through one element because they are unique. They're not, because they are not special. And moving on to ID selector. The ID selector uses the ID property to pick a specific HTML element because each element inside a page is unique. So the ID selector is used to choose a single different element only. An ID selector chooses an element based on ID property only. For example, you can see the TTT triple T here. Will pick the element with the ID has triple T. Only if the value supplied exactly matches the ID attribute of the element will the selector work. For example, you can see the syntax here: hdo ID equal to main hello. We are giving the color red, so you can choose the style also here. Next, moving to universal selector. The abstract means star is the default selector in CSS. It selects an element on a document by default only. By giving this asterisk it will select the element default. Using the ID priority of an HTML element, a CSS selector picks out of one specific element on a page. An ID selector is just the elements followed by the hashtag. After the enclose, the style attributes you wish to apply by the element by the brackets only. You can see brackets here like that. And moving on to CSS colors. So here CSS colors, color kinds, color mixing, color opacity, and how to employ employ these colors and effects in HTML text are covered in the CSS colors module. For the text and the decorations of an element, the color of the CSS property sets the current color value as well as the foreground color value, I mean the background color. The CSS color adjustment module offers a model and manages a user agent. Illuminated color alteration in order to meet the user preference like dark mode, contrast, and color scheme, uh, and other color preference what the user is want to choose. Um, red, green, blue, RGB are combined to create web safe colors only. HEX values or the color name can be used to set the colors. So these are the some color properties. You can see background color. This attribute is used to change by this we can change the background of our element, background color of our element. What is background property? Background property, we setting the background by HTML can be done using the quick CSS background property only. Border, the CSS border property is a shortcut for applying all the border styles of an element. Border color, using this attribute we can uh, customize a border color of our we can customize the border color of our element. Box shadow, this feature gives some programmers that opportunity to give HTML components shadow effects. Carrot color is used for a specified via property only. Border top color, you can use this property to change the border color of our element. And next, moving on to color, this property is used to set the text content of an element for foreground color. Column rule, this property serves a shortcut for specifying several properties related to column rules in one location. Next, filter. Filter, this attribute give HTML components graphical filter effects only. Opacity, this attribute develops can make HTML elements transparent. Next, moving on to text shadow. This setting is used to give text shadow effects only. Outline color, to specify the color of an element's outline, use this attribute. We can use this attribute, outline. This property serves a shorthand of all outline properties. And next, moving on to CSS fonts. The font CSS shortened properly is used to set all the different font related characteristics. Alternately, system font substituted for the typeface of the element. The font size attribute determines the text size in CSS, as a text font size may be customized in the points or pixels or EMs. The font size attribute allow for either an absolute or relative size to be supplied. Attribute size is helpful when the output physical size is known. The text is made a certain size using the absolute size setting. In relation to relative size, browser enable user to modify the text size. The CSS property, font size, font weight, controls the font thickness or boldness, and the range of the accessible depends on the presently selected by the font family. And moving on to recommendations, why we need to recommend the CSS property, CSS tool as high? Because a website app may be have a website app may have a website have a unified visual design that thanks to CSS, which is necessary for building and preserving strong brand identity. The uniformity is essential for business hoping uh, to make a listing impact on their customers. Uh, Responsive design is now essential due to continued rinse in the use of the mobile device. All users will have the seamless uh, experience thanks to CS approaches and tool for creating a flexible layout that easily adjusted to various screen sizes and devices. Companies get a different uh, competitive edge by making investment CSS that is well-known design and appealing and a friendly user web page, or may help current users and attract one which is eventually increase the revenue. Um, Making the strategies choice to integrate cascading style sheets. Yeah, there are several benefits to deciding a strategy to include the cascading style sheets, which is CSS, in the curriculum of a computer science or information systems department. For example, CSS relevance in the light of recent corporate and labor market trends. Numerous industries have a strong requirement for basic web development throughout technologies like CSS. Incorporating CSS into the curriculum makes sense if an employee will find it to be useful. Consider doing all this CSS essentially integrated into current courses rather than necessitating its own distinct course. Uh, a decision may be made by based on how much CSS expense is required by people's career objects only. Um, by concluding, yeah, it can be advantageous if a department or computer science decide to include CSS in its curriculum. It does not make market trends or labor market and student needs. Yeah, if the CS or CS decide to include CSS into their curriculum, it may be helpful if it does not in a way that consider market trends or labor marketing demands and student needs and interests. In order to successfully improve the students' abilities and knowledge, should go through the developed. We need to should be thoroughly developed and include all into the curriculum. And in conclusion, CS and IS department recommendation of a CSS for active is used to needs. Yeah. In conclusion, research on the market need, student interest, and alignment within the educational goal. These are all required before us for a CS and IS department may advocate. CSS for active usage in its courses when used widely may provide students with the mm, what you say the partial skill or variety of jobs in a digital era. Mm, and even through CSS has a lot of benefits, implementation, which we thought of effective CS usage require careful. Yeah, CSS property have many advantages, but it is implementation must be very carefully considered, carefully planning attention to be to the best. To be the best practice, and a dedication to remain current with the involving web standards are all necessary for effective CIS implementation. When used purposely during the web development property purpose process, CSS may greatly aid into the production of engaging and user-friendly online experiences. So here are the references which we have used in our project, and here are the demo of our tool which we used, Visual Studio Code. This is the basic web page when we open the our tool. Here you can see the file option, edit. We can open the file, we can save the file, we can choose the file from here, and here we can edit, we can select, we can go view. Here are some options in our tool. If we go to the view and run, for example, we are giving command welcome, introduction to CSS, and we can, if we run the code, you can see web page is created like welcome introduction to CSS. And if we give we can give the background color, we can change the background color also, as we have seen in the CSS fonts or CSS colors. I have explained their background color. We can, if we put the background color as yellow, and we give the command as background color yellow, and run the code, you can see all our background color is changed to yellow. And we can give, if you want to give the fonts for different topics as different topics for different fonts, we can give whatever font you want. I have given serif, Arial, and monoscope. You can see the three different font sizes, you can see here. And we can give a font color also, for the font color for the font size or shape which we have given in previous. For example, I have given the brown, blue, and aquamarine as the three colors. So we can see three different colors here. So like that, we can run our CSS tool. We can also adjust the size, which we have talked before. We can size. We can set the size of our font also. Here, yeah, here you can see the difference in all the three of our commands which you have given. So this is how we CSS properties are very useful, and how it is very helpful for create a unique web page or everything. Yeah, that's what all about CSS. Thank you for giving this opportunity.